We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling show. I am your man behind the microphone and your Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. I am Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, the OG Undisputed Scholar himself. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Congratulations on your title retention.
Thank you very large. Thank you.
Because considering how your challenger is not here this evening, it would have just been another Brock Lesnar situation where the guy would just take the title and just completely disappear off the face of the earth. We don't need that shit anymore on Scholars.
I'll tell you what, it was an admirable attempt. He almost had me, almost, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, as my father used to say. But we are here now. We are present. It's a brand new day on the Scholars of Wrestling show. And we're joined also by another undisputed scholar in his own right. He looks like a disembodied head, but we don't care. He's here with us today. He is Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how are you feeling tonight, sir?
A little confused by what I'm seeing here between two of you. I was under the impression that we only have one champion. What the hell is that?
Well, let me tell you, last but certainly not least, my tag team partner, the debonair decadent delight himself, and from what it seems, the AEW Collision World Champion himself. He is Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, would you be so kind as to enlighten the man, please?
As I live and breathe. Good evening, gentlemen, and what an evening it is. I mean, me and my tag team partner retained both our respective belts. The challenges we faced, but we overcome. Little Jimmy, where you at? You're back into the being invisible, just like everything that's been going on with wrestling this week. But I am ready to talk to you, gentlemen. Scholar Brian, you ask what this is. Let me tell you, your tag team partner brought it to my attention that AEW Collision does not get enough love, and they need their own World Heavyweight Championship. And fans of the Scholars of Wrestling, if you saw earlier this week on the Twitter machine, I tweeted saying, "Are you ready for a great collision this week?" And let me tell you, it delivered. I am proud to call myself the AEW Collision Champion, and I will continue to fight
Well,
for you.
you
Remind
know
me.
the issue with that. Me and my tag team partner over here, we have a thing we like to do with titles. Uh, we like to take them. So,
He's not wrong.
so if you want to be uh so kind, we do so happen to have an AEW pay-per-view this weekend. And since it has now come to my attention that for whatever reason, in my time away, we suddenly have an AEW Collision world title, a title in which I have never had. I would like a chance, considering how many chances I've given you.
Well, hold on now.
To add one more accomplishment to my list on top of the mountain as one half of the undisputed scholars. And if you were ballsy enough, you'd give a shot to us both.
Us both? No, no. If that title is going to be on the line, it's got to be on the line against all the scholars. It's got to be a free for all to determine to really show off who the AEW Collision World Champion actually is. Do you concur, Pete?
I mean, What are we talking about here,
We're
gentlemen?
talking
This
about a
is this.
title defense. I just defended my title,
Yeah.
and truly a champion of your caliber, sir, can absolutely find the time in his busy schedule to defend and the prestigious lineage of the AEW Collision World Championship.
So proud to hold that title over your shoulder.
Listen,
You would think.
listen, gentlemen, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, our predictions of the AEW pay-per-view coming up this weekend is just in a little bit, but we need to talk about Elimination Chamber, gentlemen.
I don't know, man. I think we're good right here.
All joking aside, we really do because
Oh,
what could quite possibly be the biggest news of the decade and beyond occurred at the Elimination Chamber of all shows. So let's just dive right into it. This is the AEW, the WWE Elimination Chamber in review. Now, we have quite a lot of things happening on this show. Obviously, we're talking about it, the great heel turn of John Cena and everything that implies. But to you, gentlemen, before we get to obviously the one that overshadows everything else, any thoughts, opinions on any of the highlights or lowlights from the rest of the show proper?
I will say this. Obviously, Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in the in the unsanctioned match. Okay, Uh, that's a match of the year candidate that we're going to forget in the midst of what happens later on in the show. I will give credit to Liv Morgan in the women's elimination chamber match. I believe she carried that entire thing. And she showed me the last week. Okay, we've given so much shit to Liv Morgan about how she's been booked the last year as champion and everything to be done with the Judgment Day and all that. When you give her 15 to 20 minutes and let her wrestle a match, you remember why we liked her in the first place. And the week, Monday through Elimination Chamber, the tag team title match and the Elimination Chamber was a generational Liv Morgan performance. And the men's Elimination Chamber was really paint by numbers. Really, it wasn't anything special. It was just once you figured out that Cody Rhodes and The Rock was after this, and they were talking about some kind of industry changing thing was going to happen. It's like, you know that this match really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters about this match is the winner, because the winner is going to turn and sell his soul to The Rock. And as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, now it has to be Cena. Because as much as CM Punk turning would be a great move, it is not industry changing. We have been here before. Okay.
I do have to say, I'm sorry, continue.
As soon as John Cena won, I had that excited Pittsburgh hockey baby meme at the ready, because it's like, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Come on, John Cena, turn. It's been 20 years, turn. And as soon as his face went dead, I was like, yes, we are in. And it delivered. It delivered in every way you wanted it to. I loved every minute of it. And it's the only thing you're going to remember out of this show. whether that's fair or not.
This is the one difference in opinion I've got with that assessment. I wouldn't exactly say the men's elimination chamber was paint by numbers. I will say that it was not too unusual, but I will say it was very well done in my eyes. I really enjoyed the banter between, especially when during the last two, Cena and Punk getting in the ring together. That back and forth was excellent. Really, they were just as it was more or less as solid of a elimination chamber as any I've seen in recent past. It was satisfying. There was still a little bit of question in my mind whether or not it was going to go to Punk or Cena. I didn't hear all of this like industry shaking talk, so I was still pretty much going in blind. Although, having said that, I was delighted to see that what occurred in my original prediction in the Cody Rock segment more or less happened the way I thought it would, just not with the third man. That is the only thing I got wrong, but hey, that I believe that speaks for itself at this point. But I'll share my thoughts about that more. Uh, Scholar Tarek or Pete, any thoughts on the rest of the pay per view proper before we start gushing about the Cena segment and more anymore?
The only shout out I would like to mention is the Jade Cargill like coming back, looking at Liv Morgan and everybody's like, oh, and then she turns, attacks Naomi, um, and then you see Bianca just in the pod, like just devastated. Like I just like how it was done. Obviously, we all predicted because we are all smart gentlemen. Some of us still have championships right now. Um, we knew that Bianca Belair was gonna win this match, so I like how they did it with, and now obviously with this past Monday on Raw with the shakeup of Rhea Ripley not being your champion anymore. I'm very intrigued to see how this whole thing continues with the three of them. So I think out of the women's pay-per-view, I want to say, besides the Liv Morgan that, of course, Caller Brian has mentioned, I think that that was also a very good moment for at least the women's elimination chamber because obviously, like you said, my tag team partner, everybody wants to talk about the man who said, "You can't see me."
And I'm still
Basic
convinced that
thugonomics.
Bianca Belair's in on it.
Yeah, I'm
Down the
definitely
line.
curious to know how all that stuff progresses for sure. Again, this entire show was loaded with greatness that just so happens to be overshadowed with by that happening. Uh Tarek, any other parting thoughts on the rest of the show proper before we get into the thing?
Well, all right. As for my pretty much rundown of the whole show, yeah, the big highlights of that match was the Jade Cargill return, Liv Morgan basically being the standout star of that match, Jersey represent, and to the no surprise of Bianca Belair actually winning. But all in all, it was a very good match. I really enjoyed it. The Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and uh, Candice LeRae. Wait, is that right?
That is right. It just took a minute.
I was like, again, I with that frame of mind, I was so convinced she was going to be the one pin, but with the big shocker was just Nia Jax getting pinned by Tiffany Stratton. It looks like it's just ending their storyline and giving her momentum on her way to Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania. But that one was definitely the weakest match of the entire show, but it's not taking anything away from it because it was a fun match. It was definitely that the best way to describe that match. It was a very um oh God, what's the word of it? It was a very house show match. Very it def because the play, especially Nia Jax playing to the audience, and both Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus getting very good offense between the two of them. It was very very simple match, but very entertaining, especially for the Canadian crowd. Uh, I agree with Brian that Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, their unsanctioned match, was definitely the match of the night for me. I enjoyed every second of it. I loved the uh, barbed wire chair being brought in. I loved the Sami Zayn going through the two stack table. Uh, and I love that the ending of it was basically similar to their first real match in NXT Black and Gold all those years ago with Kevin Owens pretty much power bombing Sami Zayn to the apron multiple times and having that be a ref stoppage, and then kind of repeating what they did in this one. It's just like, to quote George Lucas, it's like poetry. It rhymes. But yeah, and of course we got Randy Orton coming back. I knew he was going to come after the match was over. So shame on you, Pete, and shame on Charlie for actually being convinced that Sammy was going to win this one. I don't know what you guys were thinking. It was that kind of logic that allowed Jeff to successfully retain.
By the skin of my teeth, but still a victory.
Oh
Excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'm not a WWE champion. I don't know if you remember this, Scott Tark. I am the AEW Collision World Champion. I don't know anything about WWE. I don't.
About
Oh
a
AEW
yeah,
year
dude.
is my pay per
For
view.
for being the one that ended up with the least amount of points, you were just showing just like, yeah, you may be an AEW guy, but you're trying to join me and Brian on top of the mountain. Oh,
No,
it just shows you got a long way to go,
no,
sir.
Tarek, it didn't think we could find a way to find a title that's more useless than the Continental title, but guess what? We found it. We found it.
Brian, you took the words right out of my mouth with how Pete was just talking about the prestige of that title. Yes, I do. Because of what Pete said last week about how he threw a little jab at Jeremy. I gave him his credit, but that was only that one time. Now it's back to the real world of finding a more useless title than the Continental title. Oh, you again. That was my immediate thought is how he was introducing himself in this one, and it just kind of disappoints me that you actually want to take it from him because I wouldn't want it. It doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything except another thing to put on my mantle.
Oh,
that's
okay. You know
the
what?
real key here. As a second, everyone's like, "Oh, hey, I don't want another belt. That belt is silly. That belt is useless." But the second another belt comes around, you're just like, "I want it. I want all the belts."
It's
Well,
just SpongeBob. It's just
you know
SpongeBob.
what?
I don't need it.
The only
I need it.
the only way I'll actually say that I quote unquote want it is just to see the look on Pete's face when he hands it to me.
So you do want something.
And Pete,
You can't deny it.
Not in the way that you think. I want
Tarek,
something.
and Tarek, I promise, if I beat him, if he has the guts to put it on the line, and I beat him, you as my advocate can hold the title for me because I'm not actually there.
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Nothing would please me more.
Go back.
But back to the
WWE.
review. But back to my quick review.
Enough of this. Go ahead, and then we'll talk about the happening.
Oh well, I'll just quickly end it with I'll quickly because we'll do one big discussion about the turn. When it comes to the men's elimination chamber match, I guess just the only real criticism I had with it was just the confirmation that we really are going to get Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. Just of all the matches to give Drew McIntyre, that's still just the one that I just feel like is too good for him. At least we're in his position in WWE. But I just have to deal with that, and it's not even really like anything really against Damian Priest. It's just that's what happens. You just put a sour taste in my mouth when you actually make Gunther's world be a stain on Gunther's world title reign. But but yeah, oh no, that still was a very good match, and I love the ending, and I love the interaction between CM Punk and John Cena. First, when John Cena first offered the handshake, and CM Punk is just like, "Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers gotta hug."
Mm.
And they had that moment. I'm just like, "Oh, that's nice." Actually, it actually warmed my heart a little bit. I think that was just also my dinner I had that night. Gave me a little heartburn. But I just love the character-driven hatred that Seth Rollins was pulling. Just he doesn't care if he won or lost, which God damn it, Seth, that's not how this works. That's not how wrestling works. That's not how any of this works. But the dedication of just even if I get eliminated, I make sure that if I go down CM Punk, you're going down with me. And that's what he did with that stomp. And John Cena, without hesitation, uh, put him in the STF, and Punk passes out,
That should have been the first
Cena.
clue. The fact
That should have been the first clue.
that John Cena, without even thinking about it, just immediately, it's like, oh,
What I like about it is like some people analyzing that moment in comparison to when CM Punk turned heel against The Rock. What year was it for?
I think 2011.
2011, 2012, around that time when Punk initially turned heel, where when he was facing John Cena, there was a similar situation with Big Show knocking out John Cena. And you see the hesitation on CM Punk's face for actually trying to take advantage, but he does it anyway. And now you come to this time where John Cena is in the similar position, and he didn't have that moment of, should I be doing this? He just went and took it. He just basically looked like a guy who was desperate of wanting to get that 17th world title reign, which again led to him being victorious, and what leads to what happens after the match. Segue
Indeed. And this is what I find interesting. You're talking about, obviously now we're looking at the hints to see how many hints there are. And I've heard of a couple claim that, okay, it's just 2020, hindsight being 2020. But really, I feel like there were hints, but I will say that they were very well done and very subtle. Everything from John Cena saying that, okay, I am going to get my 17th world championship. I'm entering this match. I'm going to get it. To the immediate taking advantage of Seth Rollins attacking CM Punk. And just the track record of him going corporate, John Cena going corporate for many, many years. I don't think a lot of us expected it to finally see it, but when it did, it made all the sense in the world. And oh my goodness gracious, it was glorious.
It's like the warning bells started going off in my head when Cody Rhodes, The Rock, and Travis Scott came out, and John Cena's still hanging out in the ring. Because I'm like in my head, it's like, you know what's going on, but it's like, you shouldn't be here. This is not a segment for you. and
who are you talking about? Travis Scott? Because you're absolutely right about that.
Well, no, I'm talking about, well, yes, but also John Cena.
I know, it was a joke. That was a joke, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's
I had to throw that in there.
He's still in the ring. Okay, get ready. There's a reason he's still here, and it's not to be that dude who's going crazy in the corner when Cody Rhodes tells The Rock to go fuck himself. Okay, that's not what he's out here for. I'm like, that's not what he's out here for. It's a great moment. It's a great reaction in the back, but I'm waiting for the shoe to drop. And he goes in for the hug, and I'm like, they are holding on to that shot for way too long. And then his face just goes dead. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And then The Rock does the whole uh, does does his little neck.
Road slash two, which I'm still hoping to see some sort of
Yeah.
payoff from that.
I wouldn't
And
call it
that,
a throat slash. I would call it a jaw slash because he was basically just slitting his jaw. If you actually look at
and
that carefully, it's like that's
Whatever it
nowhere
is, it's
near the
like
throat. It's like,
throw the chin. Like before at Bad Blood, he was doing like the three, and then now he's giving a throw chin slash with the two. I'm wondering again. Obviously, we're looking a little far ahead, but I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be one other person who stands against Cody and this whole debacle. But that's a question for another time. Continue, please.
and then he got and as soon as the kick to the nuts happened, I I was in an out of body experience. I'm like,
oh,
you're just watching the screen, just like I was hoping for it to happen. I never thought it would happen, and it's here, and I don't know what to do. I'm just staring slack-jawed at the screen, and then immediately when I snap back to it, uh, that that's when I started going nuts on the group chat with the memes and all that because it's like I've been waiting for this. Yeah, I was like the moment that's why I picked it even before knowing everything that came out over the weekend that Triple H and everybody was talking about this industry shaking moment. I was like, I want John Cena to win, and I want him to be the one to sell his soul to The Rock. As soon as that segment happened on Monday, as soon as The Rock came out and said, "I want you to sell your soul to me." Was it Monday or Friday? Whenever it was.
it was the Friday before. It was on
Yeah,
SmackDown.
and as soon as he said that, I was like, I was in Jeff's camp. I was like, I know that Cody Rhodes isn't gonna sell his soul. They're not gonna put that on the pay per view just to have Cody Rhodes say yes. And CM Punk, I've seen it before. I don't need to see it again. Give me John Cena. Give me John Cena winning the chamber, and give me John Cena as the not even the corporate guy, just the dude who sold the soul of The Rock. That's good enough for me. And as soon as they actually did it, I'm like, greatest night ever.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, 100%. It's actually really funny because it was actually until Friday, the night like the SmackDown after we recorded our prediction show. My prediction for CM Punk went out completely out the window when he had that backstage segment with Cody Rhodes and just talking about just him not doing it, not selling to a part timer and all that. I was like, oh, well, that just completely ruined my prediction. I don't think he's winning at all anymore. I still was just thinking. Uh, I was hoping at that point. I was kind of hoping for the whole rumor, the major rumor that was going around about the person who predicted Jey Uso winning the Royal Rumble was saying that Drew McIntyre was going to win. At that point, I'm just going, I don't hate that. I really would love to see Drew McIntyre be the one that actually gets the big rub with The Rock. But then once he got eliminated and by Damian Priest, and we were like, okay, so it's most likely leaning towards John Cena. And once Seth Rollins got eliminated, and you just see them try basically having those finishers stored and just them taking each other out. I was like, yep, okay. CM Punk's not winning this. And then Seth Rollins sealed the deal, and I'm just going, "Ooh, really? Oh, are they like, are we gonna get like a big twist here? Because at that point, see, you're questioning why is John Cena still in the ring during this segment with The Rock and Travis Scott coming out? At that point, and I'm just going, what? Why the hell is Travis Scott here? Him coming out just to be with him on the entrance ramp or the entrance ramp? Yeah, sure. Why the hell is he in the ring? What has he got
Every
to do with
NWO
anything?
every NWO type needs their Virgil.
Well, that's also what happens when you have someone who has no real wrestling experience come in and be part of the one of the biggest shockers in recent memory and bursting his Cody Rhodes eardrum.
Well, hey, it also, whether it's a bad move or not, it'll make the attack look better when he shows up tomorrow.
It's actually even funnier because people respond, oh, that he's because he's the celebrity, he'll get more people, he get more like mainstream headlines after this. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think that would have been necessarily true. I mean, it's John Cena and The Rock. I think those two I think they've set themselves they made a name for themselves in Hollywood to think, why do we need this guy in here? But whatever, there's nothing we can really do about that. And we have to deal with those consequences of what happened at that. But it's still just, oh my God, we've had a guy who has been the literal face of the company for around 20 years. And he jokes every time about the heel turn. And he's thinking, just being the number one guy of the Make a Wish Foundation, just think, okay, he is just my immediate response was just basically, I thought I'd never see the day. And that's what I actually told a friend of mine of that too when he had his review of Elimination Chamber. I messaged him like I thought I'd never see the day. But I am not complaining at all about it because this is the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Because once the turn initially happened, I just looked, I'm like, that's literally how I went on it. Just squealing and thinking, oh my God, this is happening. This is actually happening. Oh, I'm just in on this. I can't wait to see what Cena's going to say since he's going to make an appearance on SmackDown tomorrow. At least that's what I read. I don't know if that's 100% true.
It'll
I don't
probably
know if
be
they
video
officially announced
format.
it.
It'll probably be video format
Probably,
because, as
but
far as I know, he's still in Africa.
okay.
Well, I'll tell
But
you what. I am I know I posted this on the group chat, but has anyone seen the interview he did with Chris Van Vliet last year? He gets asked by Chris Van Vliet about, oh, hey, how close was a heel turn happening? And it's immediately Cena launches in enthusiastically with like, okay, real close. I had separate gear made up. I had a new
Theme
song
song.
a new theme song written up, ready to go. It's called Fear My Name. It's in the archives whenever something happens. If maybe I'll get a chance to use it one day. I'm like, he rattled that off way too easily. It was way too much at the forefront of his mind. So now that's the kind of thing that makes me wonder, Pete. I can tell that you saw the clip I'm talking about. It makes me wonder, how long has this been in the works? Or is this just like digging back through the archives to make this new heel Cena happen?
I mean, let's talk about this for a second, gentlemen. You brought up what a moment it was, what a moment it was. But let's face the facts. It was a juggernaut moment. You had ESPN covering it. You have people that in the game industry such as Street Fighter, tweeting about John Cena's heel turn. People who are not wrestling fans know that John Cena turned heel. This was a moment that just electrified wrestling fans, and for them to do it, you boys said it, the ultimate shock. You have Mr. Make a Wish. You have hustle, loyalty, respect. 20 years of eat your vitamins, say your prayers, Hulk Hogan 2.0, whatever you want to call it. But he became the ruthless aggression John Cena, who became the industry. Triple H has said it, and like you said, my tag team partner, even though you see that I've copying my background, so you have good taste in that regard. But you have just this man who's done it all. So what could the WWE do? What could this farewell tour do? Well, why not turn the bastard heel and let's just have fun. You have a heel John Cena into this end of the summer, and then you end his farewell tour with him believing again and him hustle, loyalty, respect. This was such an awesome moment to have an awesome fun for this man who's probably been wanting to turn heel in 20 years, who said that my tag team partner said that he was thriving where he had new gear, he had new theme. And now for the world as a whole to be memeing it to death, even to tonight of recording, seeing the memes on the interwebs. I mean, this is such a moment that it transpires wrestling because everybody knows who John Cena is. Everybody knows who The Rock is. You have these two Hollywood icons come in on the grandest stage of them all when WWE is at its hottest it's ever been because of Triple H, because of people like Shawn Michaels, because of these wrestlers that just put on great shows. I saw a similar clip with Seth Rollins where he's like, "Where did you know you were great in with people in the ring?" He goes around 2018 when he's like, "I had a match with Buddy Murphy and like we tore their house down," but he's like, he knew he could work with anybody. Like they just have such a good system where it's good for the company, it's good for the wrestlers, everybody is thriving, and now you're having these moments where Cody's still going to sell his merch. Cody's still going to be that baby face for WWE, but here comes Hollywood cramping in and heel John Cena, the good man that he was, now the bad guy. I saw a towel where I'm sorry. It instead of he like went it down, it just goes "fuck them kids." I lost it. Give me
And
the
think of it this way, okay? Cody Rhodes got both The Rock and John Cena to turn mega heel in the two last WrestleMania buildups. That is going to be the new biggest babyface you've ever seen. He got
it's the
John
new John
Cena to
Cena.
turn heel.
Yeah,
He got
like
John Cena to turn heel. Cody Rhodes did that. Okay. That's all you have to that Cody Rhodes, if you thought he wasn't made before for whatever reason, Cody Rhodes is the man that John Cena turned heel for. That's it. He's
Oh, yeah,
cemented. That's it. If he wasn't cemented before, he damn sure is now.
for sure. And we're going to be going into all of the details and developments that coming from the heel turn that was in the weeks ahead leading up to WrestleMania. But before we get to all that, as far as beard ratings for the show itself, gentlemen, what would you give this on a scale 1 to 5? What would you rate Elimination Chamber 2025?
Just the matches itself, I would go full beard. But once you throw in the ending, the show's a goat face. Can't give it anything else other than that. If that ending did not happen, would have been a full beard. You had the ending on top, automatic goat face.
Brian took the words right out of my mouth. I had the exact same notion. The matches were very, very good, very entertaining and them by themselves, it would have been just a straight full beard 4 out of 5. But because we got that segment, because we got this historic turn, it added just a whole nother level. It took the beard and grew it 3 times longer in just a matter of seconds. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Brian. I'm gonna give this one a goat face. What, 5 out of 5?
How about you, Pete? What would you give this on a scale of 1 to 5?
I mean, even though I specialize as the AEW Coach Champion, I cannot argue with Scholar Brian nor Scholar Tark. Unfortunately, they are correct that this was a 4 out of 5, but because of that ending, you have to give it the goat face. Like, it's John Cena turned heel. Great matches up and down the card. Goat face 5 out of 5. Let's go. AEW time. After you, sir.
Of course. But yeah, I cannot help but give this a 5 out of 5 goat face. This, in terms of just match quality and storyline, I've got a feeling that this is going to be the pace setter for the rest of the year. I'm calling it right now. This is going to be, between moments and matches and everything else, people are going to wonder, okay, how's it stacking up to Elimination Chamber? This The gauntlet has been thrown down for the rest of the year and the entire field of wrestling. Everyone's going to be looking at WWE and John Cena in the coming months, and for good reason. However, before we move on, as far as this show goes, and the big belt, the main belt that matters on this show, I'm sure some of you are wondering, okay, well, Jeff, you defended your title just barely. When are you going to put the title on the line again? Well, in the spirit of being that pace setter, in the spirit of setting the pace for absolutely everyone, for all the scholars, I am going to name the time and the place and the method by which the Scholars of Wrestling Championship will be defended. The title will be defended for the next time at WrestleMania weekend. The title will be built up for grabs from every single scholar. But as far as the date goes, the date is all of them. Because this will be, as it has been in the past, a gauntlet match. An Iron Man Gauntlet Championship Scramble with 3 events. We've got WrestleMania Night 1, WrestleMania Night 2, and NXT Stand and Deliver. Predicting all 3 shows. And then the person who happens to have the most points at the end of all 3 shows, excuse me. Whoever has the most points at the end of all 3 shows will be the Scholars of Wrestling champion. Because we cannot afford to have any more. There must be no more questions. A champion must be declared at a show and weekend as big as WrestleMania. So let it be written, so let it be done. That is the gauntlet I am laying down before all of you. Gentlemen,
I
your
accept.
thoughts?
I accept. And I know it's got to be a tie because this is how it works. There must be a winner. It will be a tie.
Hey, that will
A part
still
of
be
me
a
wants
winner.
a part of me wants to add a little more fun to this, like to go with that championship gauntlet, is that each night will be a title defense. Like, and just whoever's the champion at the once the weekend ends is the overall champion. Like how like the old gauntlet matches of just
You're
like
not going
you
to
have the
Brian
10 minutes.
Kendrick this.
It's
No,
like 10 minutes.
what? No, because Tarek doesn't want to do NXT standard delivery. He sucks at NXT, remember?
What? Well, it's not even that I don't want to. I just think I would just have like at that point, okay, after the first night, it's like Brian got the most points. He's the champion. And then pretty much just do it at a clean slate with WrestleMania Night 1, another gauntlet match. Whoever gets the most of that one, they're the champion of that. They're the champion. And let's see if we could, like, whoever it is could either keep the title or just like, oh, another person gets it by the end of the weekend. That's just a
Let
fun
me
idea.
tell you, boys, what's gonna happen. Let me tell you, boys, what's happened. You're gonna soon call me WrestleMania weekend. You're gonna call me Two Belts Petey because I'm gonna be your Scholars of Wrestling champion, and I will continue to be the reigning and defending
Uh,
AEW
Oh,
Collision World
we'll call you.
Heavyweight
We'll call you
oh,
Champion.
two.
was
Pete, we'll
that
call you two
defending?
belts.
Was that defending I just heard? Is
No, no.
is
We'll
that an
we'll call
accept?
you. We'll call you two
Is
belts, Pete, if you win the if you win the
no
party championship and the scholars championship.
no is that accepting my challenge from early in the night? You said defending. You can't say defending if you're not going to defend. Are you accepting my challenge, Scholar Pete?
Tag team partner, where are we at the show now?
I think it's about time to jump into our predictions for AEW Revolution 2025. And
Fantastic.
as the current title holder, I am going to take my advantage. I'm going to take a champion advantage for first pick because the first match I've got on the card is on the pre-show match. It is a trios match between MXM Collection and Giant TV versus the team of the Conglomeration and Big Boom AJ of the Costco guys. It's going to be, I'm going to go Team AJ Conglomeration here. Just because, hey, they're going to give the Costco guys another victory. It's a great pre-show spot for them. They clearly love being there. Why not? Next up in the line is my tag team partner, Scholar Pete. Who do you got to win this
Partner?
pre-show match?
I heard that tag team partner.
As your
Pull the
Partner.
Boston accent there.
as
Tag team
your
partner. He's a wicked pisser.
as the AEW overseer, I like to call myself. This is obviously a Big Boom AJ. We had this conversation 4 months ago or whenever the last time I defended my AEW Collision World Championship. I forget when, but we said the same thing. Big Boom AJ. It's a great act. You said it, my tag team partner. Get the people happy. Get the people ready for a great night of wrestling.
Tarek, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
As you guys were talking about this prediction, all I could think of was just I'm going to just call them Team Conglomo because they own everything. They even own City Hall. And you know what that means.
You can't fight City
Hall. You can't fight corporate America.
They are big.
They are
and
big
you are
and we are small. You
You
can't
can't
fight City Hall. So yeah, for that reason and that reason only, for the people of our generation who grew up on Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh boy, that made my night.
So yeah, so you're welcome, fool. I'm gonna go with Team Conglomo.
All right, Brian, do we have an accord? Are you going with Team Conglomo over here?
We do have an accord. Mr. AJ's gonna lay the boom.
Brilliant. All right, moving on to the card at large. We've got for the Continental Championship, we've got Kazuchika Okada defending against Brody King. Pete, it's your first pick on this match. Who do you got?
This is an easy one. We'll go with Brody King.
Are you?
I wouldn't
Okay.
be AEW Collision World Champion if I didn't know what I was talking about.
Okay. I love it. Next up, Tarek. What do you got?
I'm kind of with Brian. I see Brian's face there, and I'm just thinking the exact same thing. Like, it really, Brody King. I love Brody King, but he is not winning this. He's not winning this match. I'm going to go with
Just
Okada
watch. He
to
actually does
successfully.
it now.
I would like to be proven wrong. Again, I like Brody King. I like Brody King a lot. I want him to succeed as his own person, like as his own star. With even with Buddy Murphy, Yeah, and Julia Hart. I like his singles career. I would love to see him actually gain something. But in all honesty, when it comes to like championship reigns, I gotta stop doing this. I keep putting everyone in certain levels of how I see them, which championships they win. And I could see him at least winning like the TNT championship, sure. But I just can't see Okada losing the Continental title. At least not now. And I actually think they're actually how I see how I see things are gonna go. I have my own like fantasy booking of what I want to do with the Continental title. But for now, it's gonna stay with Okada.
Scholar Brian, your pick up next. So you got between Okada and Brody King.
Okada's going to retain to set up a big match at in Dallas for with the winner of another match later in the prediction.
So you're Brian. I think you and I are in the same mindset for this because I said it's a fantasy booking, but with what I've
It's
read,
not fantasy booking. Trust me.
I hope you're right on this one.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to also go with Okada on this one. Although now Pete's making me think, you know
Stop
what?
it.
With this new
Thinking is bad.
recalibration,
Thinking is bad.
of the former House of Black, I'm wondering, like, okay, is this going to begin on this night?
No,
Pete is
If
mind fucking you, and you need to
no,
realize
no. Hey, Brody King deserves a
Hey,
better
don't
title
you
than
kink
this.
shame me, bro.
it.
Brody King deserves a better title to win than the Continental title, and that's
Don't
and
make
not
him
even
go up
anything.
on the Continental title again. We don't need that. Just let it
Okay,
just move on.
okay. We'll see how that all goes. In the meantime, we got a lot of more matches to predict here, including Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher in a steel cage match. Tarek, it's your pickup for this one. Who you got?
This is actually this is one of the hard matches for me. I said I had two before we started recording, but actually I forgot about this one, so it makes it three. Um, uh, I, I even with booking wise, I think of what Jesus Christ, I'm blanking on his name. Mark.
Briscoe?
Oh no.
No, the
Summers?
other Australian connection
Yeah.
or whatever.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking. I know. I'm thinking he's going to be a big factor in this match. That's going to accidentally cost Kyle Fletcher the match. Where I'm going to pick Will Ospreay to win this match. Oh God, why am I blanking on? This is going to bother me. I'll look it up when you guys are putting in
I
your
was gonna say,
predictions.
give it about 5 minutes from now, you'll get it. Anyway,
But yeah, I'm going to pick Will Ospreay to win.
Brian, it's your pickup next. So you got between Ospreay and Fletcher.
I didn't have to think that hard. It's Will Ospreay all the way. It's they're gonna end the feud here, and Kyle Fletcher got his clean 1, 2, 3. I don't think he needs another. You get Will Ospreay to win, and he moves on to bigger and better things.
I'm going to second that notion or third it, as the case may be. There's still a higher than zero chance Kyle Fletcher could pull this out. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the safe bet here.
Mark
Pete,
Davis. That's it.
that okay,
Mark
there you
Davis
go. Boom.
is going to be the big factor for me. There we go. I knew it was Mark something. So okay, now I can settle at ease.
It was Mark Summers, clearly. He's gonna come
Oh,
off of the Sev Double Dare and Unwrapped on the Food Network to challenge for the title. Pete, give
okay.
me your prediction before I say something dumb again.
Well, being the AEW Collision World Champion, yada yada, we know this. Let's talk about this match quick. Just it's 1-1, either man. either man can win this match, and I would not be disappointed. This is going to be match of the night, gentlemen. And if you think otherwise, I think you're delusional. I think this is going to be the best match on the card. I do feel like a win for Fletcher would be great here, and it would propel him up the ladder. However, like you gentlemen, I have to say, my boy Will is winning this match. Will Ospreay with the 1, 2, 3. But of course, you're gonna have the Don Callis family getting some fuckery and costs, like you gentlemen said, Fletcher. But I have no doubt that this match is gonna make your AEW Collision World Heavyweight Champion very proud.
All right. That will bring us over to our next match. We've got just a straight up grudge match. We've got MJF versus Hangman Adam Page. Brian, it's your pick up first. Who are you going with?
I do not think this feud ends here. I think they stretch this out at least another pay-per-view. And in order to do that, uh, I think you have MJF win here.
All right. I will also second that prediction. I feel like not because my logic is that much different from yours, but I'm also going first and foremost with my gut here, just saying, like, you know what? I feel like MJF needs a little something to sink his teeth into, like a victory or an extended feud with Hangman. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that. My gut says MJF as well. Pete, what does your gut say about MJF versus Hangman Page?
I mean, it's another easy one here. It's going to be MJF. They're two high class superstars in AEW, probably the top in AEW. I mean, not the top. That's for some other people here, but I do think that this is going to be again another. These two men can work. They work great story. They work great moments. It's going to be a great match. Another great match for AEW.
And Tarek, do we have an accord on the MJF situation, or do you think Hangman is going to pull it out?
I am. We do have an accord. I'm also going to pick MJF for the win. Uh, this feud has honestly been one of my favorites in all of AEW, just because of just the character work that both guys are showing of Hangman Adam Page finding his soul in the darkness that's been inside him for so long, and MJF's whole of him being insecure about where he is and thinking, "Oh, I'm the devil. I don't care what anyone else thinks," but all he's wanting is just approval from the fans. Like, is this not good enough? And just what do I have to do to get you guys to cheer me? Even though once upon a time you were one of the most popular acts. But there's nothing more else to say about that. I mean, as much as I love the Adam Cole MJF storyline, that whole story just went out like a wet fart. Uh, but yeah, I'm also going to go with MJF for this one because yeah, this is just the beginning of their story, and I'm really excited on what they're going to do. I wonder if they'll even like find some way to have it be where MJF does something completely heinous to the point where Adam Page is going to would be written off TV for a while just to really sell what they do on this show. And so, what kind of disgusting act could he do uh, to get the audience to say, "I love you, MJF. I like cheering you."
I'll tell you what, that remains to be seen, but that until we get that answer, we're going to be going on to our next match, which is Swerve Strickland versus Ricochet for the number one contender to the AEW Championship. It's my pick up first, and honestly, for this one, I'm going to go Ricochet. If Ricochet had not been delivering in spades week after week after week with this new heel run, I'd say this is going to go to Swerve easy. But I've been really impressed with heel Ricochet lately. He's absolutely been killing it. And you know what? I can see him going after the AEW World Championship. I can see him actually doing something with that notion and having a program. So yeah, I'm going to go with Ricochet to win. Pete, it's your pick up next. Who are you going for?
Again, this is why I am the AEW Collision Champion because I'm not going with Ricochet for the win because that is not who is winning. Of course, you're going to have good old Swerve Strickland winning. You know why he's going to win? A little spoiler so I can give you, Tarek and Scholar Brian, a little insight. We know how something's going to happen later on in the night. So you're really going to put a heel versus heel? No, no, no. You're going to put Mr. Strickland as your face to go against. I think this is going to be a good match. I appreciate Ricochet and his heel moments, but right now, my bet is going to be Swerve Strickland for the win.
All right. Tarek, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
I'm also going to go with Swerve Strickland for the win.
What's this?
Because as much as I'm loving this new Ricochet character, I think it's too soon for him to be going for a world title shot. This new character is still a baby. It needs time to age. It needs time to grow to be something where you can be like, okay, this guy definitely is now ready to be world champion for AEW. And yeah, it's just not there yet. So Swerve for the win.
All right. And Brian, which way you going? Swerve or Ricochet?
I'm going to go the logical route, even though it makes me agree with my enemies. Look, Ricochet has pinned Swerve Strickland a couple times recently. Has pinned Swerve Strickland twice. He ain't doing it again. Swerve wins and probably gets his world title shot at Dynasty.
Okay. Next up, we've got Mercedes Moné defending the TBS championship against debuting Momo Watanabe. Pete, it's your pick up first. Who you going between Mercedes and Momo?
I mean, is this fucking
Come on, Pete, say the
sabotage?
name.
Is this sabotage? You're gonna, of course, by happenstance, I get, ladies and gentlemen, I get Mercedes Monet. I mean, talk about a woman with useless titles on her shoulders. I mean, I never thought I'd see the day. But face it, gentlemen, just like me, she's gonna retain her championship.
You can't retain if you're not defending, sir.
And suddenly everything goes silent.
He
No,
You're making it worse for yourself, boss.
Let's be serious here. Mercedes Monet is gonna win because she doesn't lose. She loves Tony Khan. Tony Khan loves her. It's just a way for her to have a great match. This is what it is. It's going to be a nice women's match because she wants it and she gets it, but she's going to keep her title. Mercedes Monet.
Tarek, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
CEO, CEO, CEO. Mercedes Moné for the win. Because, yeah, if anything, let's just where are you, Jamie Hayter? I could see you winning the TBS championship off Mercedes Moné. I feel like she's the only real one that actually can be the best option here. But that's a future situation. But yeah, Mercedes for the win.
Well, once she's able to get her work visa and able to get back to the States, then we can talk about that.
Completely forgot about that. Yeah.
Then we can talk about that. Until then, we are going to be stuck with Mercedes Moné as the TBS. Like I'm not on the same boat as apparently most people here. I do not hate the woman. I think she puts on good matches, but look, it has been a little while. The reign has been long. I think we can. I would like to turn the page now. I don't know how it's
I
possible because you haven't built up anybody who apparently can beat this unstoppable force. But it it's time to turn the page. It's time to start building somebody up. Give it to Willow if you have to.
Willow's
And
another good one. I'm just saying this as not as some like I don't hate Mercedes Monet. This is a I just honestly think she's now beyond the TBS championship. She should actually be going for the main belt. I don't know why she's basically stuck on a mid card title where it's now to the point where it's not even it's like when would she lose? It's just like Jesus Christ, just drop the damn thing. Uh it's basically a Jay Cargill thing situation all over again, and I don't want that.
Listen, I'm the biggest Mercedes Monet fan here, and I just want to say, puts on great matches. It's just, everything else that just doesn't work.
well, it's funny that you bring that up because if there's one thing Tony Khan has demonstrably proven that he loves more than Mercedes Monet, it's Japan, being the good weeb that he is. So I actually had to go back and forth with this one because I'm like, you know what? It seems like a
He doesn't
really
love
Tony
Japan that
Khan
much.
move. It seems like a really Tony Khan move to bring in one of the biggest women's wrestlers who's still in Japan in Momo and just having her beat Mercedes to get one of those titles off of her so she can move on to the main world championship.
I
It's
appreciate.
possible.
No,
Are
It's
no,
you
it's
going to make a
not.
possible.
prediction?
But I do not believe in it long enough to make that particular prediction. Not this time. I will be bold elsewhere on this card, but I'm not going to be bold enough to say that Mercedes Monet is not winning. So yeah, we have a consensus. We've got Mercedes. But now that that's out of the way, let's move on to our next crazy match. We've got the Hurt Syndicate defending the AEW tag team titles against the Outrunners, the boys. Tark, it's your pick up first. Which way you going?
It's actually like my heart wants to pick the Outrunners for multiple reasons. One, just because I love the Outrunners, I love their character, I love their vignettes. It looks like something you could just take out of the just put in a VCR on a VHS tape, and just makes me feel all like nostalgia for the 80s and 90s of just having those nice VCRs, go into a blockbuster and illegally copy VHS. And just
Oh boy.
I would with Cedric Alexander now out of WWE, I want him to come into AEW and join the Hurt Syndicate just so they can win the Trios Championship. And that's just
Ooh.
another reason why I would want them to drop the tag titles. But it's just not going to happen. I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate. They're just too goddamn awesome. And again, the only reason I would want them to lose it just so they can go for the trios titles to make those titles relevant again, because I keep forgetting that the Death Riders actually have them right now, and with them looking like, at least on the case of Wheeler Yuta, just having that team just basically implode. I would love to see them win the trios championship, but I don't know if there's any update with Cedric Alexander, at least one that I haven't seen, of like where he could possibly go. But I would love to see a complete Hurt Syndicate in AEW. And but that's that's just now more of back to the fantasy booking. But I'm going to go with the Hurt Syndicate for the win here.
All right, Brian, it's your pick up next. Which way you going?
In quite possibly the easiest pick I will have to make tonight. I like the Outrunners. I really do. No shot. Hurt Syndicate wins this match. But I think they win it pretty handily too. I don't think this lasts long.
Yeah, I'm convinced that the Outrunners are going to get him eventually, but it's just not going to be this soon.
It's not going to be against this team.
Yeah, the Hurt Syndicate is just coming out too strong out of the gate. Hurt Syndicate is going to go with it. Pete, do we have a consensus or what?
Of course we do. I mean, this is a very popular underdog team. It's a very comedic team, but the Hurt Business, they're freshly champions, they're freshly dominant, and they're going to beat the living shit out of them. It's going to be within 5 minutes, this match. I think, like you gentlemen have said, it will come, but right now, this is the easiest match to predict on the card. This is your AEW Collision World Champion speaking.
And with that, we're moving on to our next match on the card. We've got Toni Storm defending her AEW Women's Championship against Mariah May. The brawl to end it all. Brian, it's your pick up
Is that
first.
what they're calling it?
No, I'm just throwing it out there just because there's
It just
some
sounds something.
subtext to it. There's some like subtext to this match. It's like a the big blow off feud. Call it whatever you will. But
I do like the brawl to end it all. I like that. I was like, is that really what they're calling? Because that's pretty
that's not
dope.
it's honestly on the forefront of my mind just because that's the subtext they use for the match between Wendy Richter and the Fabulous Moolah, between the feud between Captain Lil Albano and Cyndi Lauper leading up to
Hmm.
WrestleMania 1. It was on, yeah, they called it the brawl to end it all. And I'm like, that's still on the forefront of my mind. Women's wrestling is all over the place. We've got Queen of the Ring, the Mildred Burke movie that's going to be in theaters this weekend. So all this stuff is on my mind. But before all that, we've got this match coming up. Brian, who do you got between Toni Storm and Mariah May?
Toni Storm retains. Mariah goes off to have her own little Toni Storm trying to find herself mode. So, and then Toni Storm can move on to something else, and Mariah May can have a storyline of her own in her attempt to come back to the main event scene. She'll be out of the women's title scene for a bit, doing her own little storyline, her own little mini Toni Storm like storyline. But yeah, Toni Storm retained.
I only have three things to say: chin, tits, shoe. Toni Storm wins, retains. Moving on. Pete, which way you going?
I mean, this is an easy one, Tony Storm. I just wish that, they would hire 12, 14, any more women to make this division exciting. I think Tony Storm is killing it, but you need to juice this division. It desperately needs new blood. It desperately needs new faces. Tony Storm strong. Help this division.
And Tarek, do we have an accord, sir?
We do have an accord. Yeah. I think it's a mix of what everyone said. Need new faces, and Mariah. This is going to be Mariah May's new character journey, and I'm really looking forward to it. And Tony Storm just won that belt back. They're not going to hot potato this.
All right. Next match on the card, we've got Konosuke Takeshita defending his international championship against Kenny Omega. For this one, I think it's the safe bet to say that Kenny is going to win this one. Just because it seems a little too on brand. There's Kenny as champion is it's just too good. So I got nothing else beyond that. Pete, which way you going between Takeshita or Kenny Omega?
Takeshita's winning.
Takeshita for the win?
Yeah. Because I am your AEW Collision World Champion, and my predictions are gold. I mean, the Don Callis family is going to cost Omega the victory, and we're gonna have this continue. It's easy. This is a no-brainer. Move on. Next pick, please.
Brilliant. Tarek, it's your pick up next. Who do you got?
Continue on with what was hinted at earlier, I'm going to go with Kenny Omega to win the international championship, just so we will have a title unification match between him and Okada to fuse the Continental Championship and the International Championship. And there's nothing I want more than to see that happen.
All right. And Brian, which way you going on Takeshita or Omega?
It pleases me when I don't have the same prediction as Scholar Pete, because I am also of the mind that there's only one thing locked in place that AEW wants for Dallas. They want Omega versus Okada. And I say give it to them. Omega versus Okada. I don't know if it's a unification match or a title for title match or whatever they're going to do, but both titles are going to be on the line. And Omega versus Okada, you will never go wrong with that match. It is physically impossible for them to have a bad match with each other. And I want to see it. I love Takeshita. I do. But he's also beaten up Kenny Omega twice in the last week. So it's also go home math. That's it.
All right. And with that, that will bring us to our final match of the evening. The main event, Jon Moxley defending the AEW World Championship against Cope. Pete, it's your final pick of the evening. Which way you going?
It's some pick, isn't it? I mean, to hold my title, to know that this pick is similar to what I am. I mean, the pick here is Jon Moxley. Copey, Copester, he ain't winning this. He's not. The Death Riders are gonna drown this out. I'm not gonna drown in talking about this because I'm done talking about the Death Riders. Jon Moxley for the win.
And Tarek, it's your final pick of the evening. Excuse me. Which way you going?
I'm also going to go with Jon Moxley just because I can see them doing a Moxley versus Swerve Strickland in some kind of death match, considering how crazy those two are. So that's where I see them actually going with the AEW World title. So I'm going to go with Jon Moxley for the win.
Brian, which way you going?
Considering I believe that we're not going to have a consensus based on who Jeff picked for his number one contender match win, I was going back and forth on this up until Wednesday, where it was confirmed to me in multiple different ways that at the very least, Cope is not walking out of Revolution as the AEW World Champion. Now, there are many different ways to do this. Remember, Christian Cage still has that AEW contract. So you can still say that Cope will win and not walk out AEW champion. I don't believe that's where we're going. You also had Jay White cut a promo for no reason whatsoever, saying he was going to see Cope, saying that he was going to see Cope at the end of the night as world champion. I'm like, why is Jay White talking about this for no reason on his own after beating Max Caster in a 10-second match? That didn't need to be there, so why is it there? And also, you committed the cardinal sin when you are taking out an opposing faction to have a one-on-one match. You left one of them standing. You let one of them go. And yeah, it did. Wheeler Yuta walked out on Moxley, but that does not that never indicates the full break. So I think we're gonna have shenanigans as we normally do. I know that Cope doesn't walk out of Revolution as champion, but I'm not gonna have him win the match either because of the other ways that Cope has screwed up in this lead up to the match. On Wednesday alone, Mox retains.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm just going to see it through the end. It may not happen, but I'm going to see it through the end. I'm going to go with Adam Copeland. I'm going with this for the reasons that this whole Death Riders thing, it's just not working. It's the least interesting portion of this of any AEW show, which really sucks because I'm a big fan of Jon Moxley. I feel like that we just need to move on from this. Do virtually anything else AEW would have to can supply would be more interesting than this feud.
And
Just
I
move
would
on
give
to
that
something shores.
and I would give that to you 100% if it was anybody else other than Adam Copeland, the guy who said that he's not here to win titles, he's here to help the younger crew. Which him winning the title will not do. So I did, if it was anybody else in this spot, I would be more on Jeff's side here. But Adam Copeland as your AEW World Heavyweight Champion in the year 2025 makes no sense to me. So that's another reason why I wouldn't go for him.
Well, there you have it, friends. Those are our predictions for AEW Revolution 2025. But now, with those locked in, that we want to hear what you think. We're putting the focus on all of our fellow wrestling fans all across the internet. Let us know what you think. Who do you think is going to walk away with a victory? And will Pete ever actually put the AEW Collision Championship on the line? We want to hear from you. So drop us a line all across the internet. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, yada, yada, going down the line. And if you want to join in the conversation yourself, you can check us out on X/Twitter/ whatever you want to call it. Fool, where can he reach you?
You can reach me at the Avatar. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Help build Scholars of Wrestling. Help build Scholars of Wrestling to become a bigger entity.
And Scholar Brian, where can he reach you?
You can reach me sitting on top of a mountain, fully realizing that I don't have to make up shitty titles in order to feel better about myself at Atomic Beanball.
And my esteemed tag team partner, where can they reach you? Oh, and AEW Collision World Champion, where can they reach you?
I mean, for you gentlemen who want this belt that says it's a fake belt, you keep asking for title defenses, you know. Maybe if you were a little bit nicer on next week's show, maybe, you know, I'll send you a title match your way. But they can find me at Improv Pete. Make sure you check in with the right scholar, with the right choices. My predictions are the right ones because I am your AEW Collision Champion.
But in the meantime, you can also check out the actual Scholars of Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, myself, at I'm Robbie Rage. Join in the conversation. It's always a great time. And for all of these relevant social media links and much, much more, you can also check us out at our link tree in the description below. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling. And with that, I'd say that's our time for this week because we got a lot of wrestling to digest. We're going to break it all down, including a possible review of Queen of the Ring for next week. You know we're going to be covering it all because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all for a little revolution.